where there is so much potential for you to really, really move into your future, move into your auspicious timelines. This is a time right now for creation. So the number one in numerology, once again, it is about initiation, it is about beginnings, it is about new cycles, it is about embracing the new cycle and the newness that is before you. It is about clarity, it is about seeing a new beginning and embodying it and living it and leaning into the authenticity of whatever this new system, new structure is that you have been creating, that you have had in gestation, and now it is now being born. And so those of you who have been contemplating ideas and businesses and creative pursuits, now is the time to really go out on faith and activate those things and allow them to live, allow them to take off. And hold on, because the power and energy that's in the air right now is most potent. Being the spring equinox, it is one of the most powerful days of the year for beginnings. It marks the beginning of spring. It marks the beginning and the end of winter, the end of what we have already learned, the end of what we've already endured, and what we've already added to our vast reserve of implementations and tools to be able to leverage as we go into the future, to use that wisdom that we've amassed in winter moving forth in spring. So one is a very important number and extremely important today. Hopefully you can hold on to that and take that piece of wisdom, that nugget, and run with it. The other thing is that it also corresponds to the root chakra. So the first chakra, being the root chakra, is the chakra that has to do with your beginnings. It has to do with security and being nurtured and making sure that everything you need is already intact for you to survive, and for the things in life that you need to actually live and breathe and subsist are there. And so it's a time for you to nurture your roots. And whatever roots are for you, it is your history, it is your beginnings, it is where you grew up, it is what makes you who you are. You can even harken back to your cosmic blueprint, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. It's going to be very important for us in this newness, in this spring equinox, as we're moving forward into something extremely new. Important for you to begin to reflect on, who were you before you were redefined by the trauma that you've endured? Who were you before you were redefined by the external circumstances that forced you to become something in order to survive? Who were you before that? And this is a time, as you're walking into a newness, you're walking into the spring equinox, you're walking into just newness everywhere, clarity everywhere. It's very good to have your own clarity about who you are. So I'm recommending that you go back, do like a reflection, and go back to who were you before you took on the roles in the family, before you took on, whether it's a caretaker role like I took on, or whether you suffered like extremely bad abuse, in whatever form it was, or abandonment, whatever it was, whatever your life story has been up until this point, it has been tinged. Hi, Captain Dolor. How are you, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Whoever you were before that trauma redefined your life and gave you tools to be who you are today. Go back, and I'm going to talk to you about the importance when you have this vast expanse of newness and the power of a spring equinox at your back, blowing like the wind at your back to help you move forward into auspicious timelines, go back to that cosmic blueprint, that person that God made you to be before you amassed that trauma. Because now you're in a place of safety. You have endured a lot, you have learned a lot, you have completely amassed a lot of wisdom. So now you have the power and the safety to go back and excavate, do some digging for the treasure that is you. Go back to excavate at those sites of trauma. Now that you're safe, and now that you've endured, and now that you realize that you are an avatar of power, go back to those sites and excavate so that you can have the treasure of your value, of your cosmic blueprint. Who did God make you to be, create you to be, before you endured those traumas that redefined you? So there's an excavation of layers. It's like going back to a place, and the archaeologists do all of these diggings, and they dig deep enough to go to different eras, different periods of time. They go back to the Paleozoic era, back to the Mesozoic era, back to these eras where you can tell based on the layers of rock that there was an ice age, or there was an asteroid that hit. You can tell all that. Geologists have the science and the understanding and the tools to be able to analyze the rock and the layers to determine what was going on at that time. So you can do the same thing at your own trauma sites, where you can excavate and you can remember, you can be, this was the period in my life where I was going through this thing. This is a period in my life where I went through this. And you go deep down until you find who you were at the very beginning. And from there, you can begin to derive your cosmic blueprint. What is the fingerprint of God on your life that you were meant to be before these traumas? Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. The traumas you endured for a reason. Those traumas allowed you to be who you are today, to have the strength and the stamina and the wisdom that you have today. But there is more work to do. Go back to those sites and learn more about who you are, who you were supposed to be. It's there for you waiting. It's like gold. It's like diamonds. It's treasure. It's your own treasure. So often we're looking for love in all the wrong places instead of just looking on the inside, because that's where the real treasure is. Okay? I can't emphasize enough, my friends. I cannot emphasize enough the importance of going back and looking inside yourself and learning more, being intrigued and fascinated even with your own authentic self, with your own authentic cosmic blueprint that is just you, that is your unique identity in the universe, in the world. There are layers to be excavated. And as you look at these different epochs, at these different times and eras that you endured, where you did go through some sort of death, where you did die and then you were resurrected, and then you died and then you resurrected, and then you died. Every time something very traumatic happens to you, there's a part of you that has to die in order for another part to grow and become more than it would have otherwise. Are you following me? So as you go back and you do the excavation, you are going to see these many deaths and these many resurrections that you've had to experience to blossom and evolve and unfold into who you are today. But knowledge is the beginning of power. The application of knowledge is power. So you have to get the knowledge of yourself so that you can realize, as an avatar, as a spiritual being, of someone that is an emanation of an aspect of God, you have features that are unique to you. There are superpowers that you have that are activated as you reach certain points in your life, certain checkpoints in your life. you have certain things activated. And in order for you to be more sensitive to the spirit, more sensitive to the energies that are around you that are helping guide and usher you along through your life, you will need to learn more about who you are and stop wasting so much time trying to get to know other people. Stop wasting so much time being busy with other people's lives and other people's purpose. You're getting lost in someone else's story, someone else's trauma, someone else's issues. Don't get lost in their stuff. Get focused on your own revelation for yourself, for your own life. And that is the best way to help them. The best way to help someone else is for you to begin to learn more about yourself and how to operate this complicated machinery, this complicated technology that you are. There are so many different levers and so many different metaphorical buttons and so many different features that you have not begun. Let me repeat, you have not begun to tap into your power, into all the features that you bring to the table in this world. Because you are so busy with technology in other people's lives instead of focusing on who you are, what you bring to the world, what is your blueprint, what are you all about, why are you here. That is enough to preoccupy you for a number of lifetimes, not just this one. And why am I always in nature? You notice that when I get on live, I like to be in a situation or a context where I'm surrounded by nature. And some of you may even wonder, some of you probably intuitively already understand why, but for those of you for whom this is a question, I like to put myself in the context of my own habitat. I am a part of nature. And I thrive, and my powers, my divine energy thrives when I'm in nature. And my message to my listeners and my viewers is that nature is a reflection of who you are. If you want to really learn yourself and you want some guidance into how to do the excavation and the digging to get to your own treasure that is you, your authentic cosmic blueprint, get in nature. Nature is a mirror. Nature is constantly showing us who we are. Nature is constantly reflecting who we are. We can watch the ants, we can watch the bees, we can watch the water, we can watch the birds and learn so much about ourselves. But we have turned away from nature. But nature is our friend. And as we turn back to nature, we're going to realize how nature is an ally for us. Whether it be water, that be your main element like mine, or whether it be the air, or whether it be earth. Nature is constantly conspiring with you and for you, for your success, for your betterment, for your improvement, for the ultimate unfolding of who you're supposed to be. So get back to nature, because it is a mirror. It is trying to show you who you are, and you can learn so much. Whether you get in nature on a weekend basis, when you're taking off from work, or you're just taking that weekend to just really relax and rest, or you've decided to take up gardening and to garden in your backyard. Those are ways for you to get back to nature, to tap back into the power that is ours, the power of being part of the earth, part of the product of earth. You will learn so much if you focus back, put your energy back on nature. And so nature reflects who you are, and based on your level of awareness, your consciousness, your level of development, and your readiness, you are able to see yourself and see the things that you either need to change, adjust, just like when you're looking in a mirror, right? Or accept and love, or celebrate. Those are the 4 different, and there are probably more, but what I'm seeing is 4 different choices you have when you look in the mirror. All right? And the mirror is not just nature. It is not just what we see when we look around. It is the people in our lives. It's the circumstances, and even, I would say even more so, the people, since we are always interacting with a lot of different people. The people that you are naturally attracting in your life and naturally resonating with are put there specifically to show you what's inside you. They are specifically showing you what is going on inside you, because believe me, there are no accidents. The people that are coming into your life and are denizens of your life, that means that they're staying around all the time. You have attracted them based on what is in your heart, based on the things that you dwell on, based on the things that you think about, based on the things that you're strategizing, based on what you fall asleep thinking about at night. That is who you really are. And so who you are is going to be reflected in who is being naturally attracted to you, naturally resonating with you. So you can look at those people in your life as mirroring aspects of yourself that you either need to adjust, change, accept and love, or celebrate. This just really came home for me, this concept of my life as a mirror, looking around and realizing that it's just reflecting me. The more and more that I learn about myself, and the more and more that I am becoming aware and emerging from the subconsciousness of being, sleep. I am now awake, and I am now understanding that everything I see is for my benefit. And so now when I have an issue with a person where I feel like a person may have disrespected me, or a person just spoke to me in a way that I did not appreciate, or maybe they handled an interpersonal situation in a way that I didn't think was at the level that was required, now more than ever, now I used to let days go by and I'd still be upset about it, but now I catch myself and I realize, they're trying to show you a part of yourself. They're trying to show you an aspect of yourself that you need to change. You need to make an adjustment. You need to just accept that part of you and love it, and realize that that is a part of who you are, and you need to nurture it and love it. Or you need to just celebrate that, because this is confirmation that you're on the right track. This quality of person in my life, is in my life, I am so impressed with that person and how they interact. And now I'm realizing that is an aspect of me that I get to celebrate. This person is reflecting who I am. And all of them reflect aspects of you. You are many faceted. You're multidimensional. You're existing everywhere at the same time. You're timeless. And the universe, Spirit, God, is lovingly and with great grace is showing you who you are. And so the extent that you want to make changes, you are sovereign. You have your own permissive will where you can make choices as to who you want to be. Your avatar, as you move through this life, can be changed. Your avatar can be adjusted. Your avatar can be changed out. You can change the clothing. You can look at that avatar and say, yeah, I put that together. That is me. I love that part of me. All of those different responses are acceptable and reasonable. And this is the new way as we walk into the newness of the spring equinox, as we walk into the newness of our lives, as these old structures and old systems are falling away like winter, okay? We espouse and we embrace the spring, the newness of it, with the understanding and awareness of our power to create what we want by starting within. As you create who you want to be, the universe, the world, will reconfigure itself to reflect who you are in your life. That is a gem. Write that down. As you make adjustments, as you love yourself, as you engage in self-love and self-care and begin to craft yourself into the avatar that is your heart's intention and desire, your world will reconfigure itself to reflect who you are on the inside. No need to try to change people. No need to try to change things on the outside. No need for so much efforting. Most of your energy should be directed towards loving yourself, making very, very small adjustments, fine-tuning, recalibrating, and reinventing. One of the mottos that I came up with many, many moons ago in my management career was reflect, recalibrate, reinvent. And it really still speaks volumes today. It's still very relevant. Okay, so as you walk through life, as you move through life, and you are beginning to ascend and evolve into the vision of your higher self, you will begin to understand and recognize yourself as you look around. The more and more aware that you become, the more and more you will realize that the people in your life, that the circumstances in your life, that the experiences that you go through, that what you see is merely a reflection of what is going on inside of you. Much of the debates and the challenges and the arguments that you endure in your life are based on inner conflicts inside you, mostly between your heart and your mind, where there's a lack of congruence between what you're feeling and what you're thinking. When they're at odds, then your outside, your external world is going to be at odds with you. And when you come together with yourself, when you gather up yourself and love yourself and look at yourself and burnish yourself and shine yourself up and cultivate yourself and nourish yourself, you will find that your life will begin to reflect a higher quality. This is what happens. Okay? So I think I said a lot. I think I covered a lot. I think the next thing I want to say, and I want to see if I can weave this into how I want to end, is that last week I talked a lot about trees, how we are trees. Obviously, we're part of nature, so the metaphor of the tree, I believe, is pretty apt, in that we have roots that go into the ground, and then we have the branches that are kind of metaphoric roots in a way for the next level, right? But the branches represent these timelines, represents all of the different infinite possibilities that we have that exist in our minds, that exist inside of us. And we get to choose from these auspicious timelines based on the content of our heart. And in the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. I know you've heard that before. So whatever it is that is here in your heart that you have been brewing over, that you have been nursing and cultivating, is going to be reflected in your speech, is going to be reflected in the things that you say. And how many know that what you say is powerful in that it creates things, and it even expedites the creation of what you already have on the inside. It is impossible for you to create something that does not already exist here. Whatever you see existed first in the unconscious. It existed first in the void before it was manifest. So everything that you are creating in your life starts off in your heart. And then out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And then we begin to speak things that are in our heart, and then they show up in our lives slowly but surely. But based on your level of awareness and development, Sometimes they show up faster. They are expedited. Okay? So the key is to do the work of digging and excavating to find out, to move the dust off of your cosmic blueprint of who you really, really have always been and who it is your destiny to be, by removing the layers and encrusted layers of trauma that are like layers of skin that need to be taken off, so that you can reveal, not really to the world, but really reveal to yourself who you really are. So often we are blind by our own excess and superfluous armor and these things that we wear that have nothing to do with who we are, but we're required to be able to endure and undergo some of the trauma that we endured and we survived and we were victorious over. Now that we are the victors over these trauma, let's take off all these layers. Let's take off all this armor. Let's lay down these swords, and let's lighten our load and lighten our hearts to make room for the newness of the spring equinox, to make room for the newness of the life, the auspicious timelines that are lined up for us to choose from. Because the divine is the God of auspicious timelines. I think that's GOAT. That's the GOAT. The GOAT is not the greatest of all time. It's the God of auspicious timelines that are there for you to choose from. And based on the lightness of your heart and the work that you do to get rid of all the excess baggage and all of the extra layers that are no longer needed. You did need them at a point. They allowed you to be victorious, but now you have won. You've won those battles. Let all of that excess detritus and dross, let all of that go and really shine forth your true, authentic, cosmic blueprint. And as I leave you today, it is not those accomplishments in life that define you. It is who you become along the way in the process that makes you who you are. I love you all. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it. If you want to talk to me in person or if you want to correspond, you can go to my dream_coach account and set an appointment. You can email me. You can DM me. I like to make myself available to my followers and for those that I coach. If you'd like to read my book, which is Detox Your Circle, Activate Your Destiny, there is a link to that on my personal account, which is Earnhardt. If you just do a search of Ernest Sears Jr., you'll see all my accounts, and go to my Earnhardt account and you'll be able to go to the link to purchase my book at Amazon. At any rate, it's just really been fulfilling being with you every Saturday and getting your questions and correspondence. And I really look forward to the next time we speak. Until next time, take care.